into the 10-minute ad routine. So once you've already got everything else sort of put in place, it's going to be really important to have a basic routine that you can follow to ensure that you're always doing everything that you need and just simplify the entire process. There's tons of different things you could do. You could spend hours every day, I guess, going through and managing the accounts. However, most of you, until you're spending thousands of dollars a day, really don't need to spend hours and hours looking at the account. So once you've gone through and set up all the rest of these views, we've talked through how to use the optimization of the metrics and identifying opportunities for growing and scaling and pausing. Now we want to just go through and make our lives simple and easy on how to do it on a daily basis. So let's walk through it. We only got a few slides here. Makes your life really quick. So what is the first piece? Make sure we go through and review our key metrics. So at a quick glance, check out your performance metrics, click-through rate, cost per click, conversion rate, return on ad spend for the consistent campaigns that we're running. And also make sure to use those custom metrics that we created to get a good idea of how things are trending. And if anything's glaring at the campaign or ad set level, either go through and make that decision to pause or go through and check the ads themselves to make some improvements. From there, we're going to go through and make sure we're checking our campaign spend. So some of you guys are going to have limits on how much you could spend on a monthly basis or a daily basis. And so you want to make sure that your campaigns are not overspending or are underspending. And if they're doing either of those, you either have thresholds in place or are making sure that your budgets are aligned to scale. And you also, by the way, want to check your audience size if for some reason it's not spending effectively enough. Now that we've gone through and done that, we want to go through and take this time to assess the ad performance going into the individual ad sets and ad groups that we have. Once you have this running, it shouldn't take very long. You should be able to use the creative review as well as the campaign and ad set level views to go through and quickly understand what is working, what's not, and what you should do next. So identify top performers and your worst performers so you can start turning things off and scaling other things up based on your objectives for your brand, the business, the campaigns. Anything specifically underperforming, make sure to go through and either mark it for pausing or just go through and pause it out of the gate. Sometimes it's just best to cut things early so that way you save on potential losses. From there, we want to go through and start evaluating the frequency of our ads and the general saturation within our audiences. What's important nowadays is that we have a consistent rotation of ads because often we're going to see that even a campaign's frequency is going to increase. So there's only so much of an audience you can get in front of. The caveat to this is if you're targeting cold audiences where you might have millions and millions and millions of people that you get in front of. And unless you're spending tons of money, you're really not going to hit the entire audience. However, whenever you're doing retargeting campaigns or mid-funnel campaigns like we've talked about in our Facebook advertising course or paid advertising course as a whole, you'll go through and you'll consistently see that frequency increases dramatically as you get to that smaller and smaller bucket of people that you're targeting. So you want to make sure it's not too high. You want to make sure you're not, having a 10, 15x frequency on your ads because it's likely going to be too high. You're not going to get the returns that you want. And then the people are going to just become blind to the creative that you're running. So even if you have a high frequency, make sure you're rotating creatives. And you want to make sure you can use this as a way to identify and change things out. From there, we want to go through and review the audience insights. Make sure at a glance that your metrics are performing correctly. So while you do have maybe set targeting demographics or locations, go through and look at the actual results. Go and check out, am I targeting males between 25 and 35 like I want to? Or is it consistently spending 10, 15% of my budget on the other ends of the bucket or the range? And can I narrow that in? Can I tighten it up? Can I do a better job of doing that? And identify if there's any room for further narrowing or optimization of my campaigns. Just because you start broad and you let the platform help to optimize doesn't always mean that it's the most effective way. Sometimes you can just start cutting things out and even then help it to do an even better job faster. All right. And then finally, we really want to look at prioritizing actions around optimization. So you want to look at a few things that we need to do immediately. And once you've narrowed into a few campaigns that you're running, you want to go in and understand exactly what you need to pause, what you need to adjust, and what you want to target. Now, for each of you, it's going to be different depending on what your goals and objectives are. But most of you are probably going to have at least two campaigns. One for targeting cold traffic and another one for retargeting. Maybe you have more depending on your budget and you can break things out even deeper. However, when you do this, you want to make sure that you have the individual goals for each of those sections outlined so you can quickly go in and say, rate return on ad spend here isn't great. The click-through rate isn't great. The frequency is too high. I need to pause or tweak and adjust my targeting or my creatives, etc. So if you go through and do this, once you've got this routine down pat, you'll be able to go through and do all of this within about 10 minutes, maybe sometimes a little bit higher, as you might have to come back in and drop in new creatives or do a little bit of a deeper review of the audiences. However, at the end of the day, this should take you roughly 10 minutes. And I really hope that you can go through and make the most out of this. So I hope this has been helpful. I hope this course has been helpful for you to get a different viewpoint on what to look at, how to use it, some of the views to use, and sort of some of the basic tips and tricks and strategies that other people that are managing millions of dollars a month are using to just optimize their campaigns. All right. Hope it's been great, and I'll see you guys later on.